Well, may I start by saying that Alexei Navalny was one of the fiercest advocates for democracy in Russia, a fierce critic of Putin, a courageous man. Any of us who are politicians in the West know the challenges that there are standing for election. But then imagine trying to do that in Russia and standing against Putin. His courage and his courageousness knows no bounds, knew no bounds. You're right to phrase it in the way that you did. The Foreign Secretary has been very firm and robust in his condemnation and blame, frankly, of Putin for what happened. You mentioned sanctions. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, we've sanctioned 1,700 individuals and entities as well, and it's right that the Foreign Secretary considers the appropriate next steps.
I noticed that you picked up the word that I used, execution. You are clear that this is something that happened at the behest of the Kremlin.
It's very clear, as the Foreign Secretary said, to lay the blame at the door of Putin. As I said, Alexei Navalny was a courageous politician. All of us who stand for politics in the West know how hard and how challenging that is. But imagine how challenging that is to try and stand up to Putin. The Foreign Secretary, in my view, is absolutely correct to lay the blame firmly at Putin's door.
Well, what are we going to do about it? What are we able to do that we're not already doing in terms of sanctions, punishment of Putin himself? What would we actually do?
Well, in terms of what we are already doing, there's sanctions that the Foreign Secretary has spoken about. I told you.
I mean, what more could we do? That doesn't seem to have had any discouraging effect on Putin thus far.
Well, in terms of what has happened, this is robust action. Sanctioning 1,700 individuals and entities is robust action that we have taken. The Foreign Secretary has said that he will look to see what more can be done. And don't forget what we're doing in Ukraine and to support Ukraine as well. It's incredibly important. The $2.5 billion that we're putting towards the effort in Ukraine, we're encouraging our allies, our NATO allies, to ensure that they spend their 2% early to make sure that we support what is going on in Ukraine. This is positive action that we are taking to stand up to Putin.